Who was Sant Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale? Why was Operation Blue Star conducted against Sikhs in the Golden Temple? And why were about 50,000 Sikh people killed by the Indian government? Sant Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale was born on February 12, 1947, in the village of Road, Faridkot district, Punjab, India. Was a complex and polarizing figure in Indian history. His father, Joginder Singh, was a modest farmer, and his mother, Nihal Kaur, managed the household, raising their family in a deeply religious Sikh environment. Bhindranwale, the seventh of 8 siblings, showed an early inclination towards spirituality and Sikh teachings. However, his rise to prominence and the events surrounding Operation Blue Star in 1984 cast him in both heroic and controversial lights. Bhindranwale was educated in traditional Sikh theology and scripture at the Damdami Taxal, a Sikh religious institution known for training preachers. He was deeply influenced by the teachings of Sikhism and became the head of the Taxal in 1977. After the death of his predecessor, Kartar Singh, his oratory skills and uncompromising stance on Sikh identity and purity earned him a devoted following among rural Sikhs. Many viewed him as a defender of Sikh rights, particularly in the face of perceived injustices by the Indian government, while others criticized his rhetoric as inflammatory. Early career and rise to prominence. Bhindranwale's early career was marked by his fiery sermons, which called for a return to Sikh values and condemned social evils such as drug addiction and alcoholism. He quickly gained traction among the youth. But his rhetoric also took a political turn. He voiced concerns about the marginalization of Punjab and the Sikh community within India, aligning with demands for greater autonomy. These views, however, were seen as secessionist by some, fueling tensions between Sikhs and the Indian government. Positive traits and controversial beliefs. Bhindranwale was a charismatic and disciplined leader who practiced what he preached. He was known to lead a simple life, adhering strictly to Sikh principles. His accessibility to common people, irrespective of their social or economic status, was a hallmark of his leadership. He was also a staunch advocate of justice and often took up the cause of the underprivileged, earning him admiration from many. However, his critics accused him of fostering an environment of militancy. He was associated with the spread of arms in Punjab, and was suspected of inciting violence against those who opposed his views. While he denied these allegations, his speeches often carried an aggressive tone, urging Sikhs to stand up for their rights, at any cost. 5 positives about Bhindranwale. Voice for the oppressed. Bhindranwale was a fierce advocate for the rights of rural Sikhs, addressing their grievances and amplifying their concerns on a national platform. Simplicity in living. Despite his influence, he lived a humble life, avoiding the trappings of wealth or luxury. Commitment to Sikhism. His dedication to Sikh values and principles was unwavering, inspiring many to reconnect with their faith. Charismatic leadership. Bhindranwale's ability to unite people, particularly youth, around a common cause showcased his powerful leadership. Fearless stance. He was unafraid to challenge authority and stand against perceived injustices, even at great personal risk. 5 negatives about Bhindranwale. Militant associations. His links to armed groups and alleged involvement in violent incidents cast a shadow over his legacy. Polarizing rhetoric. His speeches often alienated non-Sikhs and moderate Sikhs, deepening communal divides. Resistance to dialogue. Critics argue that his confrontational approach hindered peaceful resolutions to conflicts. Authoritarian tendencies. He demanded strict adherence to his interpretation of Sikhism, marginalizing dissenting voices. Impact on Punjab's stability. His actions and rhetoric contributed to the escalation of violence in Punjab during the early 1980s. Operation Blue Star and legacy. The culmination of Bhindranwale's political and religious journey was his occupation of the Akal Takht in the Golden Temple complex, Amritsar, alongside armed followers. This act was seen as both a defense of Sikhism and a challenge to Indian sovereignty. The Indian government, under Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, launched Operation Blue Star in June 1984 to flush out Bhindranwale and his supporters. The operation, involving military action within the Golden Temple, resulted in significant loss of life and widespread destruction, deeply scarring the Sikh community. Bhindranwale died during the operation, becoming a martyr in the eyes of his supporters and a controversial figure for others. His death did not end the strife in Punjab. Instead, it intensified grievances, leading to a cycle of violence that lasted years. Personal life and rare facts. Bhindranwale married Pritam Kaur and had 2 sons. Despite his prominence, little is documented about his personal indulgences, suggesting he maintained a disciplined, austere lifestyle. He traveled minimally, focusing his efforts within Punjab. His use of transportation and other facilities was basic, reflecting his connection to the common people. Rarely discussed is his sharp wit and ability to debate opponents, often turning arguments in his favor with a deep understanding of Sikh scriptures. While there is no evidence of personal scandals or lavishness, his rise to power was marked by strategic alliances, including tacit support from political figures seeking to counterbalance rivals, a fact often overlooked. Sensational and surprising facts. Bhindranwale allegedly received covert support from Congress politicians in the early stages of his career, who saw him as a counterweight to the Akali Dal. Despite his militant image, Bhindranwale reportedly condemned random acts of violence, insisting on targeting specific adversaries. He maintained an enigmatic silence on several allegations, neither confirming nor denying his involvement in certain activities, leaving his critics and supporters guessing. His death in Operation Blue Star was shrouded in mystery, with conflicting reports about how he was killed and where his body was found. Bhindranwale's sermons, recorded on cassettes, were distributed widely, making him a household name across Punjab, even among those who never saw him in person. Wealth and influence. Bhindranwale left no personal wealth, as his focus was on the Sikh cause rather than material accumulation. His legacy, however, continues to inspire and divide people. His influence is seen in the ongoing debates about Sikh identity, rights, and the events of 1984. Several documentaries and films, such as The Last Battle of the Sikh Lion and The Black Thunderstorm, explore his life and Operation Blue Star, reflecting the enduring fascination and controversy surrounding him. The Operation Blue Star, conducted in June 1984, remains one of the most controversial and painful chapters in modern Indian history. This military operation, ordered by the government of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, was aimed at removing armed Sikh militants, including the charismatic and divisive leader Sant Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale, from the Golden Temple complex in Amritsar, Punjab. To understand why this operation occurred and its tragic consequences, it is crucial to delve into the history of the Golden Temple, the rise of Bhindranwale, the events leading to the operation, and the larger context of Sikh identity and demands for Khalistan. The Golden Temple. A brief history. The Golden Temple, known as Harmandir Sahib, is the holiest shrine in Sikhism. It was founded in 1577 by Guru Ram Das, the fourth Sikh Guru, and later expanded by Guru Arjan Dev, the fifth Guru, who also compiled the Guru Granth Sahib, the central scripture of Sikhism, and installed it within the temple. Over the centuries, the Golden Temple became a symbol of spiritual and cultural unity for Sikhs worldwide. Its gilded architecture and serene pool of Amrit, holy water, drew millions of pilgrims annually. The temple has also been a focal point of Sikh resistance against external oppression. During the 18th century, it was the site of conflict between Sikhs and Mughal or Afghan forces, symbolizing the resilience of the Sikh community. This historical context adds to its significance in Sikh consciousness and explains why any assault on it is seen as an attack on the Sikh identity itself. The rise of Bhindranwale and the call for Khalistan. Sant Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale emerged as a prominent religious leader in the 1970s. Known for his fiery sermons advocating a return to Sikh values and his criticism of the Indian government for its alleged marginalization of Sikhs. Bhindranwale's rhetoric resonated with many rural Sikhs who felt alienated by economic inequalities and political neglect in Punjab. His rise was bolstered by political manipulation. Some reports suggest that Congress politicians initially supported him to counterbalance the Akali Dal, a rival Sikh political party. As Bhindranwale's influence grew, so did his demands. He criticized the erosion of Sikh identity and the failure to implement the Anandpur Sahib Resolution, which sought greater autonomy for Punjab. Over time, his rhetoric became more militant, aligning with the call for an independent Sikh state, Khalistan. Though Bhindranwale himself denied being a secessionist, his actions and associations with armed groups made him a controversial figure. By the early 1980s, Punjab was in turmoil. Violence escalated between Sikh militants and the state, with targeted killings, bombings, and clashes becoming routine. Bhindranwale and his followers took up residence in the Akal Takht, the temporal seat of Sikh authority within the Golden Temple complex, turning it into a fortified stronghold. This move was seen as a direct challenge to the Indian state. Why did Operation Blue Star happen? The Indian government, led by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, justified Operation Blue Star as a necessary measure to restore law and order in Punjab and eliminate what it called the nerve center of terrorism. The immediate trigger was the growing militancy in Punjab, with the Golden Temple being used as a sanctuary by armed groups. Intelligence reports suggested that weapons and ammunition were being stockpiled in the complex, and militants were planning large-scale attacks. For Sikhs, however, the Golden Temple was not just a physical structure but a sacred space. Bhindranwale's occupation of the Akal Takht was controversial even among Sikhs. But the idea of a military assault on the temple was unthinkable to most. The government's decision to proceed with such an operation reflected both the gravity of the situation and a failure to find a peaceful resolution. The attack, forces, strategy, and execution. Operation Blue Star was launched between June 1 and June 8, 1984. It involved a massive deployment of Indian Army personnel, including tanks and heavy artillery, under the command of Lt. General Kuldip Singh Brar. Reports estimate that around 70,000 troops were mobilized for the operation, alongside police forces. The operation began with initial attempts to negotiate the surrender of militants, but these efforts failed. On June 3, a curfew was imposed in Amritsar, and communication lines were cut off. The army surrounded the Golden Temple, and a fierce battle ensued. Militants, heavily armed and well-positioned within the temple complex, offered stiff resistance. The use of tanks and heavy artillery to breach the Akal Takht caused significant damage, which outraged Sikhs worldwide. The operation resulted in high casualties. Official figures suggest that around 400 civilians and militants were killed, but independent estimates place the death toll much higher, with some reports claiming over 2,000 deaths. Nearly 100 Indian soldiers also lost their lives. Bhindranwale was among those killed, though the exact circumstances of his death remain disputed. Some accounts suggest he died in the initial assault, while others claim he was found dead later during the cleanup operation. Aftermath and consequences. The immediate aftermath of Operation Blue Star was marked by widespread anger and grief among Sikhs. The desecration of the Golden Temple and the heavy civilian casualties fueled resentment against the Indian government. For many Sikhs, Bhindranwale became a martyr, and his death only strengthened the call for Khalistan. The operation also had significant political repercussions. On October 31, 1984, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi was assassinated by her Sikh bodyguards, Beant Singh and Satwant Singh, in retaliation for the operation. This act triggered anti-Sikh riots across India, resulting in the deaths of thousands of Sikhs, further deepening communal divisions, international dimensions and support for Khalistan. The Khalistan movement received support from Sikh diaspora communities, particularly in countries like Canada, the United Kingdom, and the United States. Organizations such as the World Sikh Organization and Babar Khalsa advocated for an independent Sikh state and provided financial and logistical support to militants in Punjab. Pakistan, too, was accused of aiding Khalistani separatists as part of its broader strategy to destabilize India. Rare facts about the Golden Temple and Operation. The Golden Temple complex housed thousands of civilians during the operation, including pilgrims who had come to mark the anniversary of Guru Arjan Dev's martyrdom. The Akal Takht was rebuilt after the operation, but controversy surrounded its reconstruction, as traditionalists felt it compromised the original architecture. Bhindranwale's body was reportedly cremated by the army in an unmarked location, adding to the mystery surrounding his death. Sikh soldiers in the Indian army mutinied in several places after the operation, refusing to accept orders from their superiors. The operation remains a sensitive subject in Indian politics, with successive governments hesitant to fully declassify documents related to it. Legacy of Operation Blue Star. The scars of Operation Blue Star are still visible in Punjab and the global Sikh community. It remains a pivotal event that reshaped Sikh politics and identity. The damage to the Golden Temple and the loss of life continue to evoke deep emotions, with many Sikhs viewing it as a betrayal by the Indian state. For others, the operation is a reminder of the challenges of balancing national security with religious and cultural sensitivities. The Golden Temple was restored to its former glory, but the memories of 1984 linger, serving as a somber reminder of the costs of conflict and the fragility of communal harmony. The events of Operation Blue Star and its aftermath are a testament to the complexities of leadership, identity, and the enduring impact of decisions made during times of crisis. The Indian government's apprehension regarding the Khalistan movement stems from its potential to disrupt the unity and sovereignty of India. Khalistan, the proposed independent Sikh state, represents a serious challenge to India's territorial integrity and has historical, political, and social ramifications. Let us explore this concern, alongside the sources of income for the Golden Temple and its staffing. Why is the Indian government afraid of Khalistan? 1. Threat to national unity. The primary fear of the Indian government is that a successful secessionist movement in Punjab could embolden other separatist movements in different parts of India. Regions such as Kashmir and the northeast have long-standing demands for autonomy or independence. If Khalistan were achieved, it might set a precedent that could destabilize the entire country. 2. Strategic location of Punjab. Punjab, the region often associated with Khalistan, lies on India's northwestern frontier, bordering Pakistan. It is a strategically crucial state, acting as a buffer zone between the two nations. If Khalistan were to become a reality, India would lose control over this vital region, and Pakistan could potentially use it as a base to exert influence or further destabilize India. 3. Economic implications. Punjab is known as India's breadbasket due to its significant agricultural contribution. A secession would mean the loss of a critical resource base. Moreover, Punjab's industrial hubs, especially Ludhiana and Jalandhar, play a vital role in India's manufacturing economy. 4. Fear of violence and instability. The Khalistan movement was marked by violent insurgency in the 1980s and early 1990s. Militants carried out assassinations, bombings, and attacks on government officials. Reviving the movement could plunge Punjab and other regions into a cycle of violence, creating law and order issues. 5. External support and geopolitical concerns. The Indian government suspects external actors, particularly Pakistan's Inter-Services Intelligence (ISI), of supporting the Khalistan movement to destabilize India. Diaspora communities in countries like Canada, the UK, and the US have also been vocal supporters of Khalistan, providing financial aid and advocacy, further complicating the issue. The Golden Temple, also known as Harmandir Sahib, is one of the holiest Sikh shrines located in Amritsar, Punjab, India. It is a major pilgrimage site for Sikhs and draws millions of visitors annually. The Golden Temple complex is quite vast and includes several buildings, a holy pool, Amrit Sarovar, and other structures. Here are details regarding the area. Rooms, annual earnings, expenses, and management of the Golden Temple. Area of the Golden Temple Complex. The total area of the Golden Temple Complex is about 4.5 acres, approximately 1.8 hectares. This includes the temple itself, the surrounding courtyards, the Amrit Sarovar, holy pool, and various structures like the langar, community kitchen, administrative buildings, and other facilities. Number of rooms and structures. The Golden Temple Complex consists of numerous buildings, rooms, and facilities. It is difficult to estimate the exact number of rooms because of the large number of structures within the complex. Langar. The Golden Temple is famous for its massive community kitchen, which serves free meals to thousands of people daily. The kitchen has multiple halls and serving areas. Other rooms. There are also rooms for pilgrims to rest, for administration, and for staff. Guest houses. There are several guest houses and accommodations for pilgrims visiting from around the world. The central sanctum, the Golden Temple itself, has a few rooms dedicated to the Guru Granth Sahib, the Sikh Holy Scripture, and other ceremonial purposes. Annual earnings of the Golden Temple. The Golden Temple earns significant revenue through various sources, including donations, offerings, and services to pilgrims, while precise figures can vary. The Golden Temple, or Harmandir Sahib, is a self-sustaining religious institution with multiple revenue streams. Here are its primary sources of income. 1. Donations. Public donations. Devotees from across the world donate generously to the temple. Contributions are made in cash, jewelry, and other valuable items. Corporate donations. Businesses and organizations often donate as part of their corporate social responsibility (CSR) efforts. Diaspora contributions. Sikh communities abroad, especially in Canada, the UK, and the US, send significant financial support. 2. Langar. Community kitchen. Support. The langar at the Golden Temple feeds tens of thousands of people daily, entirely free of charge. This massive operation is funded by donations, both monetary and in kind, such as food, grains, vegetables, and cooking essentials. 3. Sale of religious items. The temple generates revenue by selling Sikh religious items such as books, CDs, souvenirs, and karas, steel bracelets, at designated stalls within the complex. 4. Interest from investments. The Management Committee of the Golden Temple, the Shiromani Gurdwara Parbandhak Committee, SGPC, invests surplus funds in fixed deposits and other financial instruments, earning substantial interest income. 5. Real estate and properties. The SGPC owns properties across Punjab and other states, generating rental income and other earnings. 6. Pilgrimage tourism. While entry to the Golden Temple is free, tourists often contribute through donations and purchases. The temple attracts millions of visitors annually, many of whom donate generously. How many staff work at the Golden Temple? The Golden Temple operates with a significant workforce to manage its day-to-day activities. Here's an overview. 1. Permanent employees. The SGPC employs approximately 400 to 500 permanent staff members to oversee the temple's operations, including administration, maintenance, and security. 2. Langar volunteers. While the langar primarily depends on volunteers, a small number of paid staff members handle logistics, cooking, and cleaning. On average, 200 to 300 people are involved in langar operations at any given time. 3. Priests and religious personnel. The Golden Temple employs Granthis, Sikh priests, and musicians for reciting and singing the Guru Granth Sahib. This group comprises around 50 to 100 individuals. 4. Security personnel. The SGPC employs both in-house security staff and private guards. The total number ranges between 100 and 150. 5. Maintenance and cleaning staff. A large team, numbering around 200 individuals, handles cleaning, maintenance, and upkeep of the temple and its surroundings. Sixth, volunteers, or suidars, form the backbone of the temple's operations. Thousands of people, including locals and pilgrims, offer their time and effort in various roles, making it hard to quantify the exact number of daily contributors. Key historical and cultural facts about the Golden Temple. When was it built? The foundation of the Golden Temple was laid in 1581 by Guru Arjan Dev. It was completed in 1604, with the Guru Granth Sahib installed as its central scripture. Architecture and significance. The temple's unique design symbolizes Sikh values of equality and inclusivity. It is open to people of all religions, castes, and genders. The 4 entrances represent openness to all directions and cultures. Population within the complex. Approximately 300 to 500 people live within the Golden Temple complex, including priests, volunteers, and staff. The number fluctuates during major religious events. Restoration and renovation. The temple has faced attacks and destruction several times in history, including invasions by Afghan rulers in the 18th century. Each time, it was rebuilt with even greater grandeur, symbolizing the resilience of Sikhism. Khalistan's external support. The Khalistan movement has historically received support from multiple international actors. Pakistan. Intelligence agencies, particularly the ISI, provided financial aid, training, and arms to Sikh militants. Sikh diaspora. Organizations in Canada, the UK, and the US have been vocal supporters, providing significant funding and lobbying foreign governments for support. Human rights groups. Some international human rights organizations criticized the Indian government's actions during Operation Blue Star and the subsequent anti-Sikh riots, indirectly aiding the movement's narrative. The Golden Temple stands as a symbol of Sikh resilience, faith, and unity, but it also remains intertwined with the political and historical turbulence of Punjab. The Indian government's fear of Khalistan stems from its potential to disrupt the nation's integrity and peace. Meanwhile, the Golden Temple continues to thrive as a center of spirituality and service, sustained by the devotion of millions worldwide. Understanding its role in the broader Sikh identity offers insights into the complexities of Punjab's history and its ongoing struggles for justice, recognition, and peace. The number of Sikhs killed by Indian forces over the last 80 years is a subject of significant debate and varying estimates, depending on the source. Historical events involving clashes between Sikhs and the Indian state, particularly during periods of political and social unrest, have led to numerous deaths. Below is a breakdown of key events contributing to these figures. Partition of 1947. During the partition of British India, millions of people were displaced, and communal violence erupted between Hindus, Sikhs, and Muslims. Sikhs suffered massive casualties, particularly in Punjab, which was divided between India and Pakistan. Estimated Sikh deaths. Over 200,000 to 300,000 Sikhs were killed, along with similar numbers of Hindus and Muslims, during riots, massacres, and forced migrations. Anti-Sikh riots of 1984. Following the assassination of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi by her Sikh bodyguards on October 31, 1984, anti-Sikh pogroms broke out across India, particularly in Delhi. Estimated deaths. Over 3,000 Sikhs were killed in Delhi alone, with reports of systematic attacks in other parts of India. Government role. Human rights organizations and survivors accused the Indian government and political leaders of complicity in the violence. Operation Blue Star. 1984. The Indian Army launched Operation Blue Star in June 1984 to flush out armed militants, including Sant Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale, who were fortified inside the Golden Temple complex. Estimated deaths. Reports suggest 500 to 1,500 civilians, including pilgrims and militants, were killed. Independent sources and Sikh organizations claim the number was higher. Army and police casualties. Official reports recorded around 83 deaths on the Indian Army side. Punjab insurgency. 1980s to 1990s. The demand for Khalistan led to an armed insurgency in Punjab during the 1980s and 1990s. This period was marked by violence between militants, the Indian Army, paramilitary forces, and police. Estimated Sikh deaths. Human rights groups estimate that 20,000 to 25,000 Sikhs were killed during this period, including militants, civilians, and those targeted in counter-insurgency operations. Many were victims of extrajudicial killings, disappearances, and torture by security forces. Civilian deaths. Thousands of innocent civilians were caught in the crossfire or targeted as suspected sympathizers of militants. Other incidents. Delhi Sikh Gurdwara seizure. 1978. A clash between the Nirankari sect and Orthodox Sikhs led to the deaths of 13 Sikhs, sparking tensions that escalated in later years. Farmer protests. 2020-2021. While not directly linked to mass killings, the death of over 700 farmers, including many Sikhs, during the protests against the controversial farm laws highlighted ongoing grievances between the Sikh community and the Indian government. Total estimated deaths. Adding these numbers, the total deaths of Sikhs due to actions by Indian forces, communal violence, and insurgencies could range from 30,000 to 50,000 over the last 80 years. This figure includes both direct killings, e.g., during military operations or riots, and deaths in related violence. Estimates suggest that the Golden Temple's annual earnings could range from approximately 200 crore rupees to 250 crore rupees, around $24 million to $30 million USD, annually. However, the exact figures are not always publicly disclosed due to the nature of donations and the variety of income streams. Annual expenses of the Golden Temple. The expenses of the Golden Temple are substantial due to the costs involved in maintaining the complex, managing the langar, paying staff, security, utilities, and preservation of the sacred building. Some key expenses include langar operations. The cost of providing free meals to thousands of people every day is one of the largest expenses. Staff salaries. The Golden Temple employs hundreds of people, including priests, cooks, security personnel, maintenance staff, and administration staff. Maintenance and restoration. The Golden Temple, being a historical and religious site, requires ongoing maintenance and restoration to preserve its sanctity and beauty. Utilities. The expenses include water, electricity, cleaning, and other operational costs. While there is no official public figure for the exact expenses, it's estimated that the annual expenses of the Golden Temple could range from around 100 crore rupees to 150 crore rupees, approximately $12 million to $18 million USD. Management and control of the Golden Temple. The administration and financial management of the Golden Temple are handled by the Shiromani Gurdwara Parbandhak Committee, SGPC. Here are the details about the governance and control. Shiromani Gurdwara Parbandhak Committee, SGPC. The SGPC is the primary governing body that oversees the administration of the Golden Temple and other Gurdwaras, Sikh temples, in Punjab and across India. The SGPC is responsible for managing the temple's affairs, including its finances, day-to-day operations, and the welfare of the Sikh community. The SGPC is elected by the members of the Sikh community, and the elections are held every 5 years. The SGPC also makes decisions regarding the maintenance of the Golden Temple, allocation of funds, and charitable activities such as the langar, budget and administration control. The budget for the Golden Temple is prepared and managed by the SGPC. They control the funds, donations, and revenue that come into the temple and are responsible for allocating resources for maintenance, religious ceremonies, and charitable initiatives. The management of the Golden Temple also includes overseeing the security, staff, and the temple's religious programs. A chief administrator is appointed by the SGPC to oversee the functioning of the Golden Temple, while a team of priests and caretakers manage the religious and ceremonial aspects of the temple. Audit and financial oversight. The SGPC is subject to audit by independent bodies to ensure transparency and accountability in its financial operations. Though much of the funding comes from donations, a portion of it is used for the temple's upkeep and for the welfare of the community, such as health programs, education, and social services for Sikhs. The Golden Temple is a significant cultural, religious, and historical symbol for the Sikh community and has been a source of both spiritual and material wealth for Sikhs worldwide. The SGPC plays a crucial role in overseeing the temple's administration, managing its finances, and ensuring the maintenance of its sanctity. With its vast network of donations, its annual earnings are considerable, but the expenses required to maintain its operations and provide services to millions of visitors are also high. The Golden Temple's finances, though not fully disclosed to the public, or aimed at preserving the temple, supporting religious practices, and fostering the welfare of the Sikh community. Controversies and disputes. The exact number of Sikh deaths is highly contested, with government records often underestimating figures cited by human rights groups, Sikh organizations, and international observers. Investigations into state accountability and reparations for victims remain ongoing issues. Understanding these events requires a nuanced perspective, acknowledging both the state's security concerns and the legitimate grievances of the Sikh community, which continue to influence India's socio-political landscape. The story of Sant Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale is not merely a chapter in history but a mirror, reflecting the complexities of faith, politics, and identity in modern India. His life and actions remain a testament to the power of conviction and the consequences of conflict.